Hi, my name's Johan. I'm from my school is Bridgewater School, and I'm joined with Ella, Ethan, Divine, Favour, Sajas, and Faith.
My name's Ella, I'm 12 and I go to Loretto Grammar.
My name is Ethan. I go to St. Peter's RC High School.
My name is Divine and I go to All Hallows.
My name's Faith and I go to Trinity.
My name is Serge. I'm 12 and I go to Swinton High.
My name is Favour and I go to Trinity.
Today we're going to be asking a few questions about COVID-19. The first question is going to be to Ella. How do you feel about the COVID numbers among young people?
Well, currently there's 34,000 young children that have the 1 cases of COVID, and I feel like it's not the best numbers, but I feel like they're lowering because of the vaccines and the precautions that everyone's taking. So it's probably not the best numbers, but hopefully it will lower.
The next question is for Ethan. Why do you think the risk is higher for young people?
Because it could impact on their future in a bad way. Like, they couldn't do exams, and you need exams to go like ahead in the future.
Divine, why do you think the risk is higher for young people?
Because they're surrounded by more people in their daily lives, like they go to school, college, work, and like other places, so like they socialize more than older people.
Favour, why do you think the risk is higher for young people?
I think because they can carry it on more and they pass it on to other people, even if they don't necessarily catch COVID, but they can pass it on to elderly people, and which can cause a lot of problems.
How can another lockdown impact on young people's study and future?
I think it can, because we'll go back to online meetings, and we'll have to do work like we used to do, like an app called Seesaw, where work was put online for us and we'd have to do at home. So I think they would do the same as well, which will obviously be a massive difference compared to being in school.
I think that the remote learning is harder to do. Like, you don't learn as much, you can't interact with people. It can have a really big impact on our social skills as young people. So I think that if we were to have another lockdown, it wouldn't have the best impact on us.
Yeah, the first lockdown was hard for me because I was like getting used to it and we didn't really know what's going on with the online learning. But the second lockdown was easier for me.
And obviously, like, there's no teachers to help you as well, so it'll be harder to learn and obviously develop your learning.
Yeah, most people learn face to face, not through computers, so it's going to be harder.
Why do you think people need to get their vaccine?
I think the COVID-19 vaccines are the safest and most efficient way to stop the spread of coronavirus, because the more people that get the vaccine, the more restrictions that will be let down, and then you'll be able to do more stuff, and hopefully it'll go back to normal.
Yeah, because like you're protecting yourself and you're protecting other people who are like vulnerable, like people with asthma, diabetes, and like other sicknesses.
I think the vaccines would definitely help the decrease in the problem if you even get the vaccine and still apply the rules, because you're still not passing it to other people even if you have the vaccine.
How does COVID-19 impact on young people's mental health?
I think it impacts in a bad way because like you're stuck inside a house, and young people nowadays want to like socialize with their friends, but when they're locked in, like they get too stressed and have bad problems with their mental health.
Yeah, and you like losing motivation for like health, schoolwork and other things like that. And the news is just depressing because just hearing things.
Yeah, I think it causing elevation in like stress and anxiety, because a lot of people don't, like during the first lockdown I didn't really understand what was going on. I didn't think it was going to be that severe, but then it ended up being.
I remember like December 2019, we heard it was in China, but I didn't really think it was going to come here, and it just spread across the whole world.
Yeah. Because during the lockdown, I think I was more depressed and I didn't really want to talk to anyone because I was stuck in the same house as people I lived in normally. And it was harder to actually communicate with them even though I live in a house with them. I think that it got me, like, I had more anxiety attacks thinking, would this actually be over? Or will I actually get COVID? Or if it would spread to, like, the whole entire country and every single person would have it, you know?
That was stressful.
Yeah, and people that already had like struggled with mental health during lockdown, it made it worse. So they focused more on their mental health and bring that up, and they focused more on that than focused more on their learning. So it made it affected their education as well. So
Yeah, but I think a lot of people also liked the lockdown. Some people, like just some people that were kept to themselves.
For the freedom.
Yeah, because I feel like during, like you were allowed to be at home. You didn't have to get up every morning at like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock to go to school. You were allowed to lie in and wake up later. You could eat during like Zoom lessons and stuff. It wasn't that serious, but it was still pretty serious.
Camera off, Michael.
It made some people more calm.
I think it was good because like you could, like some people could find different hobbies that they liked while they were at it. That's one of the positives, but most of it is a bit depressing, at least, to be fair.
Yeah.
What would you do if we go back to lockdown?
I would.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. I think I would like work on me more and focus on hobbies and stuff like that and do more things instead of like wasting time watching movies and doing other stuff, like read more books or find something better to do in my spare time.
Yeah, I'm going to take more advantage of my time.
Yeah, I think during the first lockdown, I think I was a bit, I don't know, selfish with it. I just really laid down, ate and watched TV. I think I could have done something better with my time, maybe like learnt a new sport or something, but I mean, can't really go back.
Yeah, it was hard because we only had like limited options since we're stuck in the house most of the time.
Yeah, probably connect with family more because after lockdown was finished, I was back into socializing. Like I was stuck on my phone.
Like school 8 hours a day now.
Yeah, I feel like getting back into it was harder because you've not really talked to your friends in a personal level, like face to face. So getting to talk to them just straight away was like difficult.
And when you went back to school, it was so different. You had to wear a mask in class and in the corridors. It was really hard with the COVID stuff.
And the bubbles as well.
Yeah,
that was kind of confusing for me because I didn't know like why you had to hang out in a certain bubble, and I couldn't hang out with like year 8s or year 10s or something like that.
Yeah, we saw so much less people because we're just people in our year.
Yeah, because during school, some people like got sent home. Like a whole form could be sent home, and they would have to learn during school. And then when they come back to school, they would learn different stuff, and they wouldn't be able to catch up, and it would be so difficult for them.
And trips were like nearly cancelled because people had to get sent home. That was
like some schools didn't even have any trips at all. So.
And for mental health, like you could be thinking, do my friends like me? Like, do they want me to be back in? That could hit on your mental health really hard.
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of things that everyone missed out on this year. Like, I know, because I was new to year 7 this year, so I didn't really get to have the new high school experience. So I think that was kind of a bit sad. But then also, like, there's a lot of stuff you missed out on if, like, you were off with COVID. Because before it was like, oh yeah, I have the flu, but now, like, if you're off with COVID, you have to stay off for 2 weeks, you miss a lot, you have to catch up, you have to make sure you're still in check with everything, which is a lot harder.
And especially the teachers were so hard on you, because when you went for like 2 weeks off and you came back, they would be like, oh, you should have done this during the time you was off, and the teachers were just making it harder on you, and that didn't help anyone's mental health.
They should be helping you.
I know,
Yeah.
they just made it worse.
Yeah.
It was also weird when they introduced like the one-way system and stuff. Like,
Yeah, I didn't know where to go.
Yeah, it was confusing at first because like to get to different classes with having to go throughout follow a system at the same time, it was gonna take a bit more time off your lessons, and it was confusing at times as well.
Must have been like really hard for the year 11s to think about COVID and the GCSEs at the same time.
Yeah, I know when I was picking my GCSEs, we didn't really have as much options and the teachers couldn't advise us, so we just had to randomly pick. And then at the end of the year, people were just changing it because they realised that they didn't want to do that at the end of the day.
When when COVID hit, I was in year 6, so we didn't get to do our SATs.
Yeah, I think that was really sad because I really wanted to do SATs. Not the fact that we had to do the test. I didn't want to do the actual test, but because everyone already had like
It's a year 6 experience.
Yeah, like everyone had the experience of doing SATs, and you didn't get to do it. And it's like, oh, did you do SATs? But at my primary school, everyone got to go to Chill Factor when they were leaving. But our year 6 class didn't get to do it. We didn't get to have a real leavers assembly, and that's like something that everyone looks forward to every year. But we didn't get to do it.
It also felt like 8 years of hard work thrown away, to be fair. Because SATs is basically just test how much you've learned in primary school, and we couldn't do that, which is kind of 8 years of kind of a waste.
I feel like I missed so much time. Like, that started like around December 2019. I was in year 9, but now I'm going into year 11 and 2021. It's been 2 years. Like, I can't believe that.
Yeah, and I was in year 7, and then we started year 8, and then COVID hit, and it's just like I moved from year 7 to year 9. So year 7 I just joined the school, and now year 9 I'm picking my GCSEs, and I'm moving to year 10. It's gone so fast, high school. It's just like I didn't experience anything.
We were just in and out, in and out.
Yeah, and I feel like now that people are still not like putting themselves into stuff because they feel like if we go into lockdown again, there's going to be no point putting yourself out there. So that's why I'm not doing most of the stuff I want to do, because I feel like if we go back into lockdown, then there's going to be no point in it.
Yeah, and if we go back into lockdown, we'll probably be used to it because we had 2 in the past.
I think it had like a really big impact on the learning though, because during that time, at the end of like just halfway through year 6 and going straight into year 7 and doing tests and stuff, like I almost forgot how to do tests. We weren't doing tests often during that whole nearly a year period. So I was like, oh, a lot of people struggled with tests. I know that a lot of my friends struggled with tests.
Everyone's grades went down during lockdown, most people's grades, and they had to try and get it up during school, but it didn't, because the teachers weren't helping. It just stayed the same, and it was just going lower and lower. People really needed help.
You need more support from your teachers.
Yeah, because if support from your parents, like they're providing for the family, like someone's at work, someone's at the shop to buy food, because in lockdown it's very tight.
Yeah, because of the jobs and everything, everyone's jobs were closing. It was harder to, have a main source of income for everyone. I mean, there wasn't much you could actually do around, and it was harder for I think it had a really big impact on everyone's health as well. Not like COVID, but people weren't getting out a lot. People weren't getting fresh air. I know my mum always told me, oh, open the window, go for a walk. I always went for walks with my sisters, but a lot of people didn't get to do that because of if they were in a high risk area, you weren't allowed to go out. You had to stay in.
Some people were like even scared to get out of their house just to go for walks. It was like it probably like impacted on their mental health. That's probably why they didn't go out, because they were scared.
Yeah, most people just stayed inside. I didn't see much people outside when I was walking around.
I think some people might have stayed inside like a lot more because like what have been happening around the world in current, like we had the George Floyd incident in COVID. We had like mainly like other things that might have got people a bit anxious to go outside and publicly. But I think lockdown has been a bit of a learning curve, because if we do go on another lockdown, we can kind of learn from it, stuff like that.
You know, I think our generation, like, the youngest generation, it's always going to be different for them, because I know everyone has their experience through COVID, but I feel like it's been the hardest for us because this is our childhood. It's not going to be like anyone else's childhood.
It's so sad.
It would impact on our future in a bad way.
I'm so worried about my GCSEs. I feel like I haven't learned as much as I normally would have if I was in school. So I feel sorry for the previous year 11s as well, since they didn't get to do their GCSEs. Like they all went to college and with predicted grades.
And they have to do the A-levels soon as well.
Yeah, some of them didn't even, like, I don't think anyone actually got, unless you were at like a private school or like in a boarding school learning like every day. I don't think anyone got proper education during that time, because even teachers had stuff to deal with at home. Some teachers are still off now if their children or they have COVID, because I know a few of my classes, I've had mostly substitute because of COVID this and COVID that, and especially with the masks, getting rid of the masks now, and social distancing, which I think, I mean, I feel like the government had a choice in that, but I feel like they should have thought about it more, because now a lot more people are going off. I think it's better to like. I feel like it's better thing for us to think about, like they could have thought about it more, because now everyone's not using masks anymore, but is it really the right decision?
Yeah, I feel so weird not to be with my mask, because I felt so used to that, like a whole year with my mask, and now we're not using it anymore.
And loads of people just randomly come to school depressed and everything because like their grandparents or uncles or auntie died during lockdown because of the COVID, and it was just really sad because because normally they'll be like, yeah, you wouldn't be happy to go to school, but you would at least still be in a good mood. But people were in a bad mood because of what happened over lockdown and because of their grandparents and everything. It was really sad.
I remember the first lockdown. They said we were just going home for 2 weeks, so I was like excited. But then it just turned to like months, and then.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember everyone just rushing around trying to buy stuff just to stay in the house for more than a few months.
Remember the toilet paper thing?
It's a trend all over social media, just for toilet paper. People
that was crazy. People were rioting in the
Hand
store.
sanitizer.
It were, like the prices for stuff just went skyrocketed. Like if you wanted to get a tiny bottle of hand sanitizer now, it's like £10. Like before that would be 90p, but because of COVID, it's like it's becoming an essential everyday thing that you need.
Like people would go to other people's houses just to ask for sanitizer or tissue, like because it was actually essential at that time. Since obviously it was locked down and people had like nowhere to go.
Before I went to year 6, we got a last day before we got a last day to see everyone. I think the government said that like year 6 students could get a last day before they left, and that just before it was COVID, and it was supposed to be the last day of year 6, but thankfully the government said that we could all like group together and see each other after months of quarantine and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that was a great experience because just coming together one last time, even if we didn't get to do it like in the best way, still got to see each other one last time before we all went to high school and separated. So
a lot of people didn't get to come in the last day for our school, but because of a positive COVID case, but it turned out to be fake, and so people didn't get to come in for no reason. So that was like so stressful.
Most people lost their friends during COVID-19 and everything because they fell out with their friends, or because they couldn't really see their friends because of COVID and they just stopped talking.
Yeah.
It's so hard to keep contact with your friends.
Yeah. Say you didn't like have a phone in year 6 and you go to a different high school to your friend, there's no way you can get the number again.
Yeah. It's no way. It's like, because I know a lot of people from primary school now, I don't even talk to, not seen them in like a year. And even a lot of people in my high school during the second lockdown, I didn't get to talk to a lot of people a lot. And then afterwards we made sure we got everyone's number. Now it's like an essential thing to have a phone or a laptop or electronic device just so that you can join online. Before it was like you had to have books, but the teachers always say make sure you have your laptop on or like have your phone on. It's kind of just a bit, it shows like how much our generation is being like
dependent on electronics.
Yeah.
No, we're relying on it so much now.
What would you do to stop the spread of the COVID around you?
Probably take the COVID vaccines.
I say continuously test yourself because school gives you like quite a bit of packs that have COVID tests in them for like the holidays, which I was given. I got given 4 packs for the summer holidays. So continuously test yourself so that you don't test positive and spread it around people.
And obviously like always wear a mask wherever you go, because if you don't wear a mask, that's the easiest way for the virus to spread.
Yeah, and also hand sanitizer whenever you go in school or to a shop, like you always put it on.
Also socially distancing, quite important, like 2 meters.
Yeah, keep washing your hands like regularly.
I know like about the test as well, a lot of people thought the schools were being really demanding when they were saying take a test every two every week, and it was like, it is quite a lot to remember to take a test, 2 tests every week when you're juggling with school and family life and home things. But I think it is really important to do, and just do it anyway, even if you really don't want to, because it's not just it's not really about one person, COVID, because it's always about people around you as well. So
I think just necessarily basically following all the rules that they put out for you to do.
People around you could have like old people at home, like their grandma, and they could be more vulnerable to COVID.
Yeah.
It actually surprises me, some people are against the masks. Like I see videos online of people not going, like they're like complaining about wearing masks in stores. It's just crazy.
yeah.
I mean, if it was you and you had COVID, wouldn't you want someone to wear a mask just to protect you?
Yeah.
It'd make more sense just to not wear the mask.
Yeah, even if you were like vulnerable, if you had asthma, you would actually beg someone to wear a mask around you, because obviously you know that it's easier for you to get it, so.
Yeah, you're more vulnerable.
It surprises me how people actually still think that COVID isn't a thing.
I know,
It's
a
so
lot of
ignorant.
people
Because
think
people
that
are
COVID
dying.
isn't a thing, and it's like after 2 years you would think, a year and a bit, you would think that people are starting to think that COVID is a thing because it's killed so many people. And I don't get how people are still anti-vax as well, because if the government are telling you that the vaccine's helping people and you're seeing it's helping people, then why are you saying, I don't think that it's the best thing? And I know a lot of people have their own opinions about it, but if it's something that you know is helping you, then you should just take it, get it over with.
Yeah, it's literally all over the news. How can you be so against it?
It's not really affecting your life if you just put on a mask or even wash your hands. Washing your hands should be a daily thing that you normally do. And wearing a mask is just an extra thing, and it's not like it's stopping you from breathing. It might be like struggling and harder to talk in, but I mean it's helping you in a way.
Like I got used to it quick. How stubborn can you be to not want to wear a mask?
Yeah.
And especially young people nowadays, they're going out with their friends because the government said that, masks, you don't really need to wear that anymore. It's not really necessary, so young people are going out with their friends. And there's still older people out there, and young people are most likely not to get it, but they can still spread it to old people, and spread it to other people and they can die. It's just young people need to actually take more care of themselves and other people as well.
Because we're like carriers, we don't get the symptoms, but
Yeah.
we can spread it to other people. So you have to like take more responsibility, basically.
That's why young people don't really care about COVID, because they think that we're just carriers maybe.
Yeah.
Like young people can still get COVID, it's just still a risk.
It's about like, because obviously before like the first lockdown they said, oh, kids have a greater immune system, so obviously you might not get corona. So all the kids thought, yeah, let's just not wear masks, so because I think I'm not gonna get it since I have a better immune system. But loads of kids from school got it, so yeah.
Yeah, people need to learn to be more mindful of other people because it's really affecting people.
Yeah, I'm not being selfish.
I think
Right. In that aspect, what do you think about the restriction, the new government restriction and regulation with the COVID-19?
I think that allowing children and other people to go out is still okay, but I think you should still be able to wear a mask and socially distance because that's still helping us.
Yeah. But I think that they went the right way. I know what they were saying because everyone was saying, oh, COVID's coming down now, because at a point it was where there was like 0 cases a day and it was great. But then everyone was still inside and stuff. But I feel like the government made like the right decision to send us back to school and stuff. But with some things like, oh, you don't have to social distance anymore, I feel like that's where they went wrong, because I feel like we should still have to social distance a bit, whether it's 3 feet or 1 feet, or just so that it's so that everyone has like some type of bubble around them, which I know everyone wants to get rid of, but you have to, or else you're gonna get COVID.
And some people took it a different way, like you don't wear mask anymore, you don't sanitize, like it's just back to normal, when like life where there's no COVID.
Yeah.
Stop caring completely. Like I feel like if we cared more in the last 2 lockdowns, we could have.
It could have stopped
Yeah.
already.
Like in other countries, they've like almost eradicated it, basically.
I know in Australia they did. Like in Australia, there's no cases.
Yeah,
Because everyone like kept to the regulations.
Yeah, we could have lowered it down a bit.
I remember when our family, me and my mum, my brother, my dad, we all went to like go for a walk occasionally, and there were so many cars are like on the highways, and like it was still a shock to see that many cars, considering it quarantine and that COVID cases are rising.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just me or if it's just my opinion, but I don't think like the world is ever gonna go back to normal without COVID unless it's like in 50 more years or something like that.
Yeah.
It's never gonna go back
I feel
to
like
normal.
COVID is gonna become like the new flu. Like
There's going to be a cure to it, but it's obviously just going to still be here.
Yeah.
So basically the new normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never really gonna go away.
It's never gonna, because we're not gonna earn back the 1.5 years that we just lost. Everyone's still gonna remember it. Everyone's gonna remember it as the age with no toilet paper, where we couldn't go to school and where everyone was online. But
So in a nutshell, are we saying that the rules and regulation the government put out to us, like not self-isolating, not using the mask, no more social distance, you can get 100 people can be in a room, so what do you think, is it wrong or right?
I think necessarily it's not. I think it's wrong in a way, but even if we did follow that, people were still joining in houses, having parties, doing weddings, just because they wanted to and they thought it'd still be important. So the 100 people should probably minus, and people should start following the rules a bit more.
Especially when there's COVID around, I don't think.
I think some people made the safe choice to still wear masks. I know a lot of people still wear masks out to places, and that's just for them, because it's not really something that you have to do anymore. So I think that's the right decision to do, but I feel like the government were too quick with their decision to drop all regulations and stuff.
What would you say to someone who's breaking the rules? They don't follow that, they feel like COVID is something that they've just made up to control the population. They don't really care about COVID, and what would you tell them?
Tell them to think about like other people that are more vulnerable to COVID.
I just think there'll be like those people that are like they're not helping anyone with doing that because they're not helping themselves. They could spread it. They don't know if they have like they're positive. They could like get COVID for not following the restrictions. So they're not really helping anyone if they do that.
Yeah, they're thinking about themselves.
I really don't understand that. It's been 2 years. Like, you have to like start believing it at some point now.
Yeah, something else that bugs me is that one kid could have corona in the school and then 120 people can go off and then people still think it's not there and it's just COVID's not here anymore.
I did like witness an incident on like when I was on public transport, and there was this woman, and she was elderly, and these young boys, they weren't wearing masks, and she was like, and they were quite close to her as well. They weren't even social distancing, and she said, "Could you please wear your mask?" And they all kind of started like shouting at her, saying, "Why should we wear masks?" And I didn't really want to step in or say anything, and everyone was saying you should wear your mask because obviously she was elderly and she's high risk, so she knew that she could like rightfully tell them that, oh, you have to wear your mask, but obviously they didn't have the same ideas, which is.
Now, if you have a message to tell someone out there about the vaccine, what would be your message to them?
Like, take it.
Just take the vaccine.
For other people, not just for yourself. Like, you could be helping other people that like have asthma and other like diseases. You could be helping them more, and like old people, because they're more vulnerable, as I said before.
Yeah.
And so many people have already taken it, so it's pretty much safe. There's like no, I don't think there's like any risk for taking it at all. So I think it should be alright.
I think it's just a normal needle. No.
Yeah. I consider it and tell them like what effects there are to taking a vaccine. Like it helps you to not get ill, even if you have COVID, and it literally protects other people in your area.
Yeah. I would just say that, like, just remember that coronavirus is it was a global pandemic. I know some people suffered worse from it, but it was about everyone, and I feel like everyone should just take the vaccine and just so that it's over with quicker and not prolonged. Because the more people say, "Oh, I don't want to take this," "Oh, I don't want to follow," the more like the government will have to like take away the things that we like going out, like seeing friends. We won't be able to do all those things if you just don't follow the rules.
Yeah, the vaccine will literally save lives, so that should be enough to convince you to take it.
Yeah.
What are the main challenges that you guys are facing as students during this pandemic period?
I think the main challenge I faced was catching up with what I was meant to do and actually speaking, socialising, because I was used to the fact that I'm like not supposed to socialise. I could just text and go on my phone. So sometimes I'd actually go on my phone during class to search up things because I thought, oh, it's like online school and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had to get used to like the normal, just being normal, like not staying at home and going back to school again. Yeah, had to catch up on lots of things, and we've missed out like 6 months of learning. It's very hard, so we had to catch up like extra.
And it got to the point like where I thought, yeah, I'm never getting back to the other students and like where they are now.
I used to thought that students that had stayed at school longer like were smarter than me. Like I wasn't good as them.
I know, I think everyone thought that, but everyone always thought that, oh, someone else is better, but just because they seemed like they were doing it, you can't really always tell. But I know I definitely felt like I need to catch up because I felt like I was falling behind. Even though I did all my online schoolwork, I was like, oh, maybe I missed out on a lesson, because I feel like the teachers, even though it was hard on them, I feel like they didn't really care about us as much. when they were like scheduling like 10 lessons, 5 lessons a day, and it's just a bit hard to do.
Yeah, so basically everyone struggled, even the teachers. There were so many technical difficulties like online with the calls, like there'll be audio problems, some people couldn't join, some couldn't get done with the lesson, and it just too hard.
I personally struggled with like getting in the routine of waking up at 6 o'clock and going back to school and everything. And I struggled during the lockdown, like doing it online, because I mostly learned doing it face to face, because when you're doing it online you can't really ask the teacher like a question because it's online, but face to face it would be more easy to talk to the teacher and tell them what you don't understand. But online it's really difficult to do that because of all the difficulties and everything, because at the point everyone was online, so like the internet everywhere was not really that good.
Like in class you can see if you don't understand something and you look around and you see someone else's face and they look a bit confused, but online you're like, am I the only one that doesn't understand it? And you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say anything, because there's so many points where I feel like I should have asked the teacher questions, but I didn't because I felt like I was the only one with those questions.
I know in my school, that we didn't always do online classes. They just sent us a piece of work and we'd have to complete it and then send it in. But we couldn't ask questions because sometimes they wouldn't be online. They just set it and then do whatever their next class. And then sometimes we do it online, but then sometimes the internet wouldn't work, so it was difficult to actually like ask questions at the same time. And they would just shoot us questions like from the last thing. But if you didn't understand the last thing, then it would be difficult to actually understand what they're doing this lesson. So you had to just catch up.
There was also people in the Zoom meetings that would say that like something wrong with their internet and would leave the Zoom call and go back just to kind of wait time. I've saw that on the internet where people have just said that their internet is cutting off or they're having internet issues, but then they end the Zoom meeting, they're it's perfectly fine, their internet perfectly fine, and then they just join back.
I feel like we should have. I know that we got a really big break from school, but I feel like the teachers should have been more lenient with us, because at my school, as soon as we came back into actual school, they made us do tests on what we learned on online, and that was really hard because if you missed a lesson, they would do a test on that, and then you wouldn't know what to do. So I know a lot of people's grade went down because of that.
What kind of activities do you feel like, okay, if those activities are happening around where I live, I'm likely to attend it because it's going to improve my well-being?
Probably.
Your confidence.
I feel like a lot of sports. I think sports helped a lot of people during lockdown. Just not even just walking or playing football, just anything really.
In school we used to do PE because we were doing online learning. But our teacher says training videos to do, but I don't think anyone really did it, so it would have been good if we joined some kind of sports.
That's what our teacher did as well. They would give you a link to what exercise you're doing, and you didn't know if they did it or not, you just had to trust them.
I like the normal PE better.
Yeah, because you'd be with other people.
Yeah. I know it's less tiring, but still
you're not doing jumping jacks alone in your room.
No, it's actually depressing. I was more motivated to do it when there's people around me. That's just awkward.
And then art as well. I know a lot of people like to draw during lockdown. I know me and my sisters, we painted during lockdown.
The same for me.
Anything to tell your parents about COVID? What would you tell them about COVID?
To you, stay safe.
Yeah. So remember to wear a mask.
I just say, just be a bit more lenient with us, because it's really hard on us as children with COVID, and just like before you tell us to go and wash the dishes, just maybe think that, oh, maybe they don't want to wash the dishes right now. They're a bit sad.
Yeah, because the teachers weren't helping you. The teachers were just sending you work, and then you were at home and your parents were telling you to do that, do that.
to get you something while you still know you had like 3 homeworks that you had to complete.
And then after I do that, she tells me, oh, go do your homework. Like, I don't understand that.
It's so much stress.
So much
Like,
stress.
even after 3 o'clock when school would normally finish, I was still doing work.
Yeah. I've just finished the live lesson.
Because you still have to like after the lesson, I would still, like after an hour after the lesson, I'd spend time like wondering what I actually learned, because half the things my teachers say I don't like one in through one ear and out through the other.
Yeah,
And it's like, so then I have to go back after the lesson and just look at all my notes, and then it's like, oh, what did I even write?
It's too much.
I don't even remember taking breaks from it, like lunchtime and actual break time. I don't remember
I
taking
skipped it
that.
so much just to finish work.
So you are better off in school than at home?
Yeah.
Even though school's really difficult, physical school, it's just like more easy, and you just learn more, and it's easier for you to do stuff there. But online school was just a no for me, definitely a no.
I think the only good thing about online school was not traveling to school.
Yeah, they have to stay in your bed.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of lockdown, I was like, yes, no school. But when I carried on with lockdown, I really wanted to go back to school.
Yeah.
They're struggling so much.
I think I liked eating during the live lessons, but one time I didn't turn my microphone on.
I remember that.
And it was really bad.
So many people.
A lot of people
Everyone was
didn't
so
turn
worried
their
about that. Oh my god, did I turn my mic off?
I know, a lot of people didn't turn the microphone on. You would hear singing, chewing, shouting during live lessons.
That made my day. That was so entertaining.
It was really funny.
Especially the people that didn't like. There's this boy in my phone who doesn't take anything seriously, and he would leave his mic on purpose. He would just sing through the whole thing.
Rien de nouveau sur la terre des mortels. La déception, la dépression, l'amour et la passion sont le lot des mortels. Mais au-delà de tout ce que vous pouvez endurer, ne perdez jamais espoir, car quelque part, non loin de nous, se trouve le réconfort. Souviens-toi que Dieu prévoit toujours une épaule sur laquelle t'adosser si tu t'appuies sur lui.
Nous fortifie, non, non, rien ne nous séparera de ton amour. Par amour tu as donné ton fils unique qui est mort à la croix pour nous, pour nous, pour nous, pour nous, pour nous. Alors je lève la voix pour t'adorer. Sois Jésus, mon roi Jésus, il m'a guéri. Malgré les circonstances de nos vies, mon roi c'est toi, mon roi c'est toi, le roi de gloire c'est toi, malgré les circonstances de nos vies.
Welcome back to Vinix TV.
We've got a few more questions to ask. So does anyone want to ask any more questions?
My first question is, how do you guys think that COVID infected your social life?
I think I became more shy as a person because I knew I was really talkative in year 7. But then after after all COVID, I was really shy and I forgot how to talk to my friends. Even though I still talk to them online, I still just wanted to not see them when I talk to them, you know?
Yeah, I talk to my friend less, but I was in lockdown. Why would I talk to them less? But I was just very nervous to talk to them somehow.
Yeah, and I also I focused on my school instead of talking to my friends. I tried to get my head down and do my schoolwork more.
Yeah.
I lost all my social skills because usually we go into school and talk to them, but we don't have that option. So
I find it hard to actually necessarily look at people when I talk to them.
I can tell.
Because in school you still do schoolwork, but at the same time you still learn how to socialise with people. When you're behind the screen, it's just schoolwork, and you don't really think to text your friend, see if they're okay or see how they're doing. It's just schoolwork.
Like even in school, when you're struggling with work, you can just turn to the person next to you and ask, like, your friends.
I think before COVID I was like an introvert as well.
Yeah, I was an introvert.
I didn't talk to people a lot, but then during COVID I feel like it made it even worse, and now I don't talk to people at all, except from like if I have an exceptionally close bond with you.
Did any of your school things, your normal school things change? Because for me, my form, all of our forms switched around, so we had to go into different forms with new people and talk to new people and get to know new teachers and stuff like that. And I was in a whole new form, and I had to get to know, I was not with any of my friends that I used to know, so it was even harder for me to socialise with the new people because I've not seen them before.
When you got back into school, what did you do differently?
Basically, we had to go one way and we had a new place to sit, so I couldn't really speak to anyone in other forms, you know. So I had to stay with my form even though I didn't know anyone, so I was eager to move forms, but now I know everyone in my form and I don't really want to swap anymore, but it was just different.
Yeah, there was definitely positive and negative. The negatives were like when you got back to school that you didn't really talk to anyone. Like I moved form 2, and the negative was I didn't know anyone, but the positive that you made new friends, you got to know new people.
When I moved into form, no one from my primary was in my form. It was just new people, not even one person. So it took me very hard to get used to everyone there and how high school works differently than primary. Because in primary they would usually teach us about high school, but since lockdown was there, we didn't get to learn that much.
And it was harder for me because nobody from my primary came to my house. So it was there was one guy, and he wasn't even in my form, so it was hard for me to make friends and know people.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but I didn't know how to take notes. You know, in high school they they just say write down and they talk. But in primary school, you were giving a sheet or something, and it's it was easier to do, and you didn't have to just write all the time. Now it just feels like I'm writing all the time, and then you have to look over the notes, and it's just a lot.
Yeah, primary school and high school are so different. It's been time for you.
It was weird going in my high school because there was the only really thing I did get warned by my friend that his friend, my friend's cousin was in the same school that I was going to. But that was the only thing, so no one in my primary came to my school too. It was hard to meet new people, and it was weird because it was a public school to a private school, and of course it's going to be really different compared to already primary school to high school. It's going to be a very different change, but as well as it being private, it's going to be extremely different too.
The biggest change for me was the bubbles. Our year I had to stay in one department of the school, and year 9 I'd stay in science, we stayed in RE. And because we couldn't have lunch at the same time, we'd have 3 lessons before we get to go to lunch or break. So that was hard.
The hardest thing for me was there's this thing in my school called the one-way system, where your next lesson could be there, but you had to go upstairs and go back down.
Yeah, that's what was in my school too.
I think I found it really hard to actually stick to the rules because I was thinking, because I already went to the school, I was thinking, oh, let me do it this way, and then I'd get in trouble for not actually sticking to the rules.
Yeah, the rules would be way more stricter. Say you didn't sit in your seat and plan, you would just get straight detention because obviously you had to sit in your seat and plan.
Yeah, they were a lot more strict about everything. And I have a question. How much do you think your screen times went up?
It went
Oh,
up.
It went in lockdown.
Yeah.
TikTok.
Before it went from like 4 hours to 22 hours. When I saw my screen time was 22 hours, that means I wasn't even sleeping 22 hours out of 24 hours. I was on my phone.
When I woke up, the first thing I do,
Go on my phone.
I
I
went
didn't
to
even
do
Schoolwork.
I wouldn't even
My mum
brush
would
my
have to tell me to do schoolwork.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was like,
Yeah, it was quite hard to get more organised
Yeah.
during lockdown.
I think if I was bored, the first thing I'd go to is my phone, go to TikTok, go to anything. I don't think I would actually pick up a book and read it. I just go on my phone.
Did any of your like friends or family members get COVID, so you had to isolate?
Yeah, unfortunately, my friend's mum died from COVID, which was a bit sad on his end, and it's still sad on mine as well. It's really sad to know that his mum died, so that's gonna impact his mental health quite a lot.
That's so sad.
No one from my family got COVID.
yeah.
My mum used to pray. Like,
Yeah.
in it every
I
day.
think they did. My mum did this thing with lemon to prevent it. She did that thing.
My mum got some Vicks, put it in a bucket, just put a towel over
Over her head, and she was
and it was sweating. My dad just like
But the thing is that I did come close to my siblings and my family. I got more close to them during
I think
lockdown.
I didn't even used to talk to my sisters.
Yeah.
I didn't really like.
But now even lockdown is over and we still spend more time together than anything.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
It was nice how my neighbours also gave me a table football where those like football players are there. You have to swing like a ball. Yeah, they gave us that, which was really fun. But now we don't really use it, and it's very wet.
In lockdown, we used to buy board games, like because we just used to use board games the most of the time. That was on the first lockdown, but the second, I just stuck to my phone.
I think I always used to love watching movies. Like we'd always sit down and watch movies together.
Yeah.
But like before, I would always just be like, I'm in my room, leave me alone. But I think just because COVID happened and then everyone was scared, you just wanted to be with someone else who could.
Yeah, just in
relate
case
to you.
something happened.
I think I nearly watched everything on Netflix because of COVID.
There's so much time.
Yeah. I have to make so many new shows now. But overall, I think that COVID, there's been like good sides and bad sides.
Yeah.
Many.
One of the goods that connect with family more, the bad, you stay at home. I can't live with that.
But do you think there's more positive? Do you think there's more negative than positive things because of COVID?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Most of the things we talked about were just negative.
Yeah. I think some near the end was positive.
Merci pour le programme d'aujourd'hui.